Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be going over the overall pattern. Once again, we're also going to be talking about a couple of snowstorm opportunities. Really, it's going to be a quieter pattern like I've been talking about, but there is a few opportunities in there that we need to talk about. Anyways, before I get into things, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. For today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you think that there will be any snowstorm opportunities within the next week or so, or do you think it's going to be overall just really, no snowstorms happening at all? Let me know your thoughts about the upcoming short-range pattern in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get straight into this video. First things first, we're taking a look at our current radar imagery, and that quiet pattern is really starting up here because we don't have a lot going on. We have some snow showers kind of across the entire north central United States, and then we have some rainfall going on for Florida and surrounding regions that are offshore mostly, but some of that is actually moving onshore to the Carolinas, which is pretty interesting. So we're going to talk about those things, but overall, very, very, very quiet actually. So let's just zoom into a couple of areas of interest. We do have this area up here in northern Washington where there is a couple of snow showers around, also going across the Canadian border obviously as well. Some of these might dip further down into Montana and Idaho, but only time can tell. These are lighter and likely not accumulating. Now we do have some heavier snow showers taking place across eastern Montana here, kind of for this region. You can see this area. This might be accumulating a tiny bit. That is actually a pretty large area of snowfall that has taken place. As we move down to the Dakotas, we can see some of this activity going on over here as well, especially throughout these regions for areas like Bismarck, Fargo, Aberdeen down here, Jamestown. We have a Jamestown here in Virginia, obviously, as well. Now, as we take a look across the border here over in Minnesota, we can see Grand Forks. I don't know if it's on the North Dakota or the Minnesota side, but that is actually receiving a lot of snowfall, or was at least earlier in the morning, and that's kind of dissipated. But we can see that near Minneapolis, we've had another pocket of showers kind of establish itself. And actually, if we zoom in here, looks like some very heavy snow showers pass through at a certain point around 4 to 5 to 6 a.m. Definitely those blues are indicating very, very heavy pockets of snowfall. So that's where we're at 30 dBz plus, which is considered very heavy. And even the whites are closer to 25 to 30 dBz, so that's even some heavier snowfall as well. So we definitely had the heaviest showers going on around Minneapolis, and now that's heading towards Red Wing and even, however you say that area, that place there, Eau Claire, that might be how you say it, I don't know. Some of these names, man, sometimes really get me. We can see that those are around the Wisconsin and Minnesota border as I'm making this video around 7 a.m. It is a Sunday, so a lot of people aren't up, but this will be mostly established throughout kind of northern Wisconsin throughout the day. That is a heavier pocket of showers, but any of these could really reestablish themselves. We've seen some showers popping up at times for southern Minnesota that would be moving more through central Wisconsin. So there's snow showers around. They're going to be moving through the upper Midwest and Great Lakes throughout the day today. We do have some lake effect areas here taking place near Grand Rapids. Some of those have moved onshore here to some areas of Michigan there. Those are generally slowly heading southward, so we might see some of these head onshore for some of these regions down here south of Grand Rapids, especially I'm watching. There is obviously some towns here along Interstate 196 there, so we'll be watching for that. Let's see, what else is there to talk about? Okay. Down here for Florida, we've obviously had a few thunderstorms, especially here just north of Miami. We can see some of these. Now, what's interesting is originally they were kind of heading onshore, and then at a certain point they kind of changed directions where they start heading offshore like this. So you'll see that play out. So they're moving kind of onshore. You can see they're heading inland, and then right around here is where they change directions and start heading offshore. Which is pretty interesting. So a lot of these are going to be moving more offshore, but we do have some showers that are moving across the state, especially in the northern half of the state here. So Jacksonville, Daytona Beach, and everywhere in between. We've been having a lot of showers and thunderstorms overnight, and then Tampa and some of these areas along Interstate 4 and Interstate 75, we've had some showers off and on. Now, like I said, some of these started to move onshore to some of these areas at points, especially later this morning. So between, I would say about 6 and 7 and probably 8 and 9, we're going to see more and more of these showers potentially move onshore to the coastal regions of South Carolina and then kind of southern coastal regions of North Carolina. Now, what we're going to do, now that we've gone over everything going on currently, we're going to move on to talk about some model guidance. We're going to talk about the temperature pattern a little bit more, but we're also going to talk about some of those upcoming snowfall opportunities. All right, now here we're taking a look at our European models simulated radar here. I'm actually going to switch back to our 0Z run here so we can get more of an extended look. Very quiet pattern, obviously, like we just saw on the radar. And as we move on with this, what's interesting is we do get a bit of a ridge in the west and a bigger trough in the east here. And as we move east, this is only on Monday. We do get this low pressure system that's kind of moved up like here. It's, I would say it's a minor nor'easter. That's what it is. And we do see some snowfall trying to mix in on the northern end there. This had some potential and people were really watching this one a few days ago, but really that potential has died down for the most part. Too much warm air around. This is by the time we're reaching about 8 p.m. on Monday, and that's going to be February 7th in just a couple days from now. But you can see it's all rain. These are the areas that we thought could potentially see snowfall with this one, and it has really turned into a much more warm event. Now, we do see this low pressure system, so it kind of moves like this. So it's right about here now, and we are going to see some potential snowfall in this area. We're seeing that take place actually on screen now. So you see for southern New England especially, in through New Hampshire and Maine, and that eventually moves up. But this would be more of a minor snowfall event. Let's take a look at that total snowfall. Mostly 2 to 6 in here with the blues. There is some areas of 10 inches plus here in the pinks, which is interesting, but that's mostly for northern Maine, where even some of the more minor storms and some of the warmer storms still bring snowfall to that region, which is always really interesting how they're so different than the rest of the eastern United States. By this point, this is Wednesday, so about midweek next week on February 9th, we're going to have cold air pouring in, especially on these more western regions. This is going to be a colder time period, and we can see there is a low pressure system there. But what's happening is this, I drew the northern jet already, but the southern jet, there's a lot of distance between these two jet streams. So that's what's really leading towards no snowstorms really being able to make their way along that northern jet. What we're looking for usually for these nor'easter snowstorms is a southern jet that meets up and basically combines itself with that northern jet, because then you get the precipitation very close to that cold air, and that's what creates snowfall. But when it's down here, it's too far. The low pressure system is too far from where the actual below freezing temperatures are to even bring snowfall. So the precipitation field doesn't make its way close enough to the cold air. That's why you need those jet streams to practically merge in order for those nor'easters to actually lead towards snowstorms. You can see that one innocently makes its way offshore and does nothing. Now, what's even more interesting is by the time we're reaching about the weekend, what's going to happen is we're going to get a signal that we're going to have a huge trough moving into the eastern United States. We see this piece of energy here. What this is really going to do is it's going to catapult its way down, kind of, and that's going to lead towards the jet stream dipping even further down. It's basically going to pull it down. So we will see this kind of dive down. So let's just play this out. As we play this out, watch it dig as it pulls that jet stream down to the Gulf. So we see it dip all the way down. And then that same piece of energy that was moving right there, that pulled the trough down, is about to basically move upshore and actually be combined with this northern jet, because it actually came from the northern piece of energy. That's worth noting as well. It didn't have to come from down here in the Pacific and meet up with it, although there might be a piece of energy that's actually meeting up with the northern piece of energy. But for the most part, this northern clipper type system that really just takes a very southern dive there, pulls the jet stream down and moves along it. And really, we don't need the southern jet to meet up with the northern jet for that to occur that way. And you can see we do get a bit of a moderate to even major snowstorm that develops there. But it's pretty far offshore. I think this could trend further west and actually be something that we need to watch for here. This is 200 hours out or so. That's going to be Monday, February 14th. So we have about a week to go. But there is a storm signal here on our European model, and that is worth noting. So the total snowfall basically for this one would look something like this. And we can actually zoom into the mid-Atlantic probably. Let me make sure. Yeah, so at this point, it could trend west, like I said, and be something more major for these regions. But for now, the southern mid-Atlantic here, mostly southern New Jersey through Virginia there in the Delmarva, that's where this model is indicating the worst of the impacts could be. Also in the Appalachian Mountains, there could be some pockets of 6 to 10 inches, even 10 inches plus there for West Virginia. But this does have potential to be more major or even less major and practically be nothing at this point. But this would be interesting to see these areas, again, seeing snowfall, because that seems to be the area that's done the best this winter in the eastern United States. another 2 to 6 inch event for these regions in North Carolina and Virginia, kind of my local region. We've had quite a bit of snowfall this winter compared to what is typical, and adding even more on it would make it even crazier, obviously. So that is worth noting. The European model does have this one snowstorm here. I haven't even done this, but I want to compare what the GFS does right at the same time frame. So let's switch over. So you can see the pattern. This is the problem. I'll switch back to the 0Z run just to be kind of congruent here. But the problem here is that the pattern, there's so many differences at this range. We do see the trough dive down, but it's not that piece of energy that pulls it down. It kind of just does it on its own, and there's no snowstorm. There's no storm at all to even move along this. We see the southern jet on this frame is literally like this, so they're not even met up at all. This is a huge distance. I want to see if it has anything. I mean, it does have a snowstorm developing, or a storm developing very far offshore after the trough is moved in, which is far too little too late. We do see a clipper system move down, and this one right here, we do see this move down and impact these regions with some lighter snowfall amounts. So I'll play this out for you guys. You see that take place. A light snowstorm there. Those storms that usually move inland like that, typically that come from the north, do not develop into very, very major snowstorms. They're typically minor to moderate snowstorms, and that one innocently moves off. We see another storm that's very similar to that right there. See if we get any more. Yeah, we do get a couple more clipper systems, and then we get kind of a major storm beyond 300 hours, which we're not even going to look at because, well, it's beyond 300 hours. So the overall trend here on the GFS is clipper after clipper after clipper after clipper, just tons of clippers. Probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So probably 5 clippers over the next 10 days. So the GFS keeps us in that very predominantly northern jet driven pattern with those clipper systems. When we compare that to the European model, we do have the clippers. This is the 6Z run. Let's switch this back to the 0Z run. We do get some of those clippers, but the most interesting thing is that storm, and then we see the one that pulls that energy down and then moves up the coast. That's also more interesting than just a bunch of clippers. So we get a major clipper there, and then that storm dives down and moves up the mid-Atlantic coast. Very, very interesting. So that's the overall pattern, guys. It's going to be pretty flip-flop, and it's going to be pretty scarce to get these major snowstorm threats. But there is an opportunity here on the European model that we need to watch. Because outside of that, you really didn't see any major snowstorm threats over even the next 10 days. And winter is drawing to an end, obviously, as we rapidly approach March. So, getting all the way to the 16th, which is 10 days from now, without a major snowstorm, is going to kind of limit the time frame we have. That's a very important time period. That's the entire middle portion of February that could be without any major snowfall events at all. So for those of you that are still hoping for snowfall, time is running out, and really you would have to hope in that circumstance that we do enter into a more active pattern afterwards. For those of you that are not hoping for snowfall and just want winter to end, keep your fingers crossed that this pattern sticks around, because this is going to be a non-snowy pattern with the exception of a few opportunities here and there. Anyway, guys, for today's confidence tab, we're at a 4 out of 6 still. I feel like that's always what I kind of go with when we're talking about the medium range and things like that. So really, I don't feel super confident. I don't feel super unconfident. If anything, I feel really confident that we are going to be in an inactive pattern. But it's really, will there be those opportunities and will they pan out? Because I feel like that's the main topic of today's video. For today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, where do you think the cold would be located the most? The west, the central, or the east? And Jonathan Schlack said, I think the cold will be focused on the central United States, and that's what it looks like will occur even when the trough is more centered over the east. I think the most frigid temperatures move on that western end, which takes it over the central United States, so I definitely agree there. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our Platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovin Nagel, Earthpan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I would also like to thank our Diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Kudelis, Capite, Charles Dennett, Bill Dallas, Gary's, and John Calisi also. I would also like to thank our channel members, Capite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.